But it's important to speak about her because
in the film industry, when you are an actor, when you sign one of these contracts in the entertainment industry, I think a lot of people on the outside think that if you are somebody who has a lot of publicity around you and your name's attached to a project, that means that you have a ton of control or a ton of intel, but usually that is not the case.
Oh no, these big bad feminists now are telling us that's ridiculous. How dare you want to meet a handsome prince and be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after? No, you should want to be the prince.
As an actor, you don't get to dictate anything. You don't get to dictate if a film actually happens. You don't get to dictate when it is shot, how it is shot, if you can ever speak about it to the public. You are simply just there to show up and say your lines and look the way they want you to look. That is our job, and that was my job on this production. So again, that's really all I can say.
She's not backing down. She's not apologizing. And now she's firing back.
No, I've been getting a lot of questions about, how do I feel? Let's address the elephant in the room.
Is Rachel Zegler Hollywood's biggest liability, or a star being torn down by an industry that can't handle her voice? At just 23, she's gone from a Golden Globe-winning breakout to the center of a legal firestorm that's rocking the entertainment world. The latest twist? A lawsuit and countersuit over her Evita role that's got everyone talking. Let's dive into how this young actress went from darling to drama magnet, and why the truth might be more complicated than you think. Rachel Zegler was barely out of high school when she landed the role of Maria in Steven Spielberg's West. Side story. Picture this, a 16-year-old from New Jersey, picked from over 30,000 audition tapes, suddenly starring in a major musical remake. Her performance was electric, earning her a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy, the youngest ever to win it. Critics called her a revelation, with a voice that could break your heart and a presence that lit up the screen. Hollywood was ready to crown her the next big thing, with roles in Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and the Hunger Games prequel lined up. But that fairy tale rise was about to hit a major plot twist. Fast forward to 2021, when Zegler was cast as Snow White in Disney's live-action remake. Fans of the 1937 classic were already skeptical, but things got messy when Zegler started talking about the original film. In a 2022 interview, she called it dated, saying the prince was basically a stalker and the story leaned too hard on a love angle that didn't vibe with modern audiences. She wasn't wrong. Times have changed since 1937. But to Disney purists, it was like she'd spit on a sacred classic. Then came the casting backlash. Some fans, leaning into ugly stereotypes, argued a Latina actress shouldn't play a character described as having skin as white as snow. Zegler clapped back, pointing out that Snow White's a big deal in Spanish-speaking countries, and she was proud to bring her heritage to the role. The internet exploded, with some cheering her confidence and others accusing her of disrespecting Disney's legacy. But that was just the warm-up. In August 2024, things went from tense to outright chaotic. Zegler took to X to thank fans for pushing the Snow White trailer to 120 million views in just 24 hours. Sounds wholesome, right? But 1 minute later, she added, "And always remember, free Palestine." That single post, tacked onto a promotional thread, sent shockwaves through Disney. According to insiders, the studio was stunned that their star would mix geopolitics with a $270 million family film. Producer Mark Platt reportedly flew to New York to confront her, urging her to take the post down. Zegler refused, and it's still up today. The fallout was brutal. Sources claim her co-star Gal Gadot, who's Israeli and has publicly supported Israel, faced a spike in death threats, forcing Disney to shell out for extra security for her and her kids. Zegler's supporters called it a bold stand for her beliefs, but critics said she tanked the film's hype. When Snow White hit theaters in March 2025, it flopped hard, $43 million domestically against a massive budget. Some pointed to bad CGI and mixed reviews, but others, including Mark Platt's son Jonah, laid the blame square on Zegler, accusing her of dragging her politics into a project that employed thousands. And then, things got even wilder. Enter Evita, the West End revival that was supposed to be Zegler's redemption. After the Snow White mess, she needed a win, and playing Eva Peron in Andrew Lloyd Webber's iconic musical was the perfect shot. This wasn't a Disney remake or a CGI-heavy blockbuster, just Zegler, a stage, and a microphone. She called it a dream role, sharing stories of her dad singing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" to her as a kid. Fans were hyped for her West End debut at the London Palladium, set to open in June 2025. But behind the scenes, trouble was brewing faster than you can say curtain call. Rehearsals barely started before whispers leaked out. Insiders claimed Zegler was showing up late, clashing with the choreographer and ignoring direction. Some said she was correcting castmates mid-rehearsal, acting like she was running the show. Then came the bombshell. A closed rehearsal reportedly ended in chaos. Witnesses say Zegler stopped mid-performance, tossed a prop across the stage, and yelled at the director in front of everyone. Security was called, and she was escorted out. Soon after, grainy footage surfaced online, showing another actress rehearsing her part, hinting she'd been replaced. Then came the real kicker. Leaked director's notes calling Zegler a nightmare and toxic, with one line sniping, "We're building a musical, not a kingdom, but Rachel thinks she's royalty." The internet went feral, branding her a diva who'd let fame go to her head. Within days, Evita's producers filed a lawsuit, accusing her of breaching her contract, damaging the show's reputation, and causing financial losses. Fans who'd stood by her through Snow White started to waver. Had Zegler really lost it? But that wasn't the whole story. Just when it looked like Zegler's career was crumbling, she fired back with a move no one saw coming. In May 2025, her legal team filed a countersuit against the Evita producers, and it's a jaw-dropper. Zegler claims she wasn't the problem, she was the target. According to her filing, the production set her up from day one, creating a hostile environment to push her out. She alleges the team ignored her creative input, mocked her in front of the cast, and excluded her from key discussions, while letting supporting actors chime in. One claim says she was left waiting in a rehearsal room for over an hour, only to learn the scene was rescheduled without her. The most explosive accusation? Those leaked notes and rehearsal clips weren't accidents. They were part of a calculated smear campaign to paint her as unhinged and justify replacing her. Her lawyers say the producers violated their own confidentiality rules, the same ones they accused her of breaking. Zegler's not just asking for her role back, she's seeking damages for emotional distress, defamation, and breach of trust. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. Was she the chaotic diva, or a young actress cornered by a production that wanted her gone? The internet split down the middle. On TikTok, creators are stitching old clips of Zegler's Snow White interviews, next to stories of other actresses who faced backlash for speaking out, racking up millions of views. One viral post called it Britney documentary energy, suggesting Zegler's being painted as unstable to silence her. On X, a tweet questioning how those rehearsal clips got leaked in the first place sparked a thread with thousands of replies, but not everyone's buying her story. Some fans call the countersuit a desperate PR stunt, pointing out she had weeks to speak up before going legal. Others are doubling down, unfollowing her accounts and vowing to skip Evita. Meanwhile, Disney's reportedly keeping tabs, worried about how this mess might affect Snow White's streaming release. Whispers of Zegler being dropped from other projects, like a Pirates of the Caribbean reboot or Paddington in Peru, are swirling, though her Paddington exit was officially tied to a SAG strike. The industry's watching closely, and some say Hollywood's cooling on her, unsure if she's worth the drama. But what happens next could change everything. Right now, Evita's future is shaky. Rehearsals are reportedly stalled, ticket sales are tanking, and a major sponsor's pulled back, calling the production radioactive. Insiders say the cast's morale is shot, with some worried the show won't even make it to opening night. And then, there's the rumor that's got everyone buzzing. A new leak, allegedly from inside the production, showing what really went down the night Zegler was escorted out. If that footage drops, it could either vindicate her or sink her for good. The producers are scrambling to contain it. But in today's world, nothing stays buried for long. Zegler's fighting not just for her role, but for her reputation in an industry that's quick to burn its stars. If her countersuit holds up, it could expose a darker side of theatre politics, where young talent is propped up, pushed to the edge, and then blamed for the fallout. But if she's wrong, this could be the misstep that follows her forever. So, here's the question. Is Rachel Zegler a victim of a ruthless industry setup? Or is she a young star who let fame and pressure get the best of her? The truth might be somewhere in the middle, but one thing's clear. This saga's far from over. With new leaks looming and a legal war heating up, the next chapter could rewrite her story entirely. What do you think? Has Zegler been unfairly targeted, or did she bring this on herself? Drop your thoughts below and stick around, because if that footage hits, it's going to change everything.